Long time ago, there lived a hare in the forest who always boasted of his running speed. He would often tease the tortoise for being the slowest animal around. One fine day, he dared the tortoise to a race in order to exhibit his skills in front of other animals in the forest. The tortoise finally accepted the challenge and decided to compete him in a race. On the day of the race, all the animals of the forest gathered to watch the competition between the hare and the tortoise. The race began at the count of 1, 2 and 3. The hare immediately started running and the tortoise started at its usual slow pace. Soon the hare reached a long way ahead, almost a few yards from the finish line. He looked back to check if the tortoise was anywhere nearby. However, the tortoise was left far behind and almost could not be seen. The hare decided to pause and take some rest on the way before he completed the race. Soon the hare fell into a deep sleep. After a few hours the hare woke up and quickly jumped to check if the tortoise was around. To his dismay, the tortoise was just a few steps away from the finish line. Seeing the tortoise close to the finish line, the hare rushed towards it as fast as he could. However, it was too late and the tortoise finally crossed the finish line, thereby winning the competition. Moral: slow and steady wins the race.
We all know the story of the slow and steady tortoise triumphing over the swift and arrogant hare, but nobody knows what happens after the tortoise wins the race. So here it goes. The Hare and the Tortoise Story Part 2. After losing the race, the hare could not get over the fact that he was defeated by none other than the slowest animal of the jungle, tortoise. Feeling enraged and dejected, he visited the tortoise's house the next day. The hare yelled,
"You won the race, but that was completely out of sheer luck. I took a nap and that's the reason you could reach the finish line before me."
The tortoise replied in a timid voice,
"You are wrong. I won the race because of your overconfidence."
The hare said,
"Okay, if this is the case, then let's have another race. This challenge would be different from the previous one."
The tortoise did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the hare in a race this time, so he thought for a while, and then accepted the hare challenge for another race. The tortoise said,
"Okay, we have another race, but the route of the race will be selected by me."
The hare agreed and didn't care. He thought he could win any competition. The news spread all over the jungle that the hare and the tortoise will have another race. On the day of the race, all the animals of the forest once again gathered to watch the competition between a hare and the tortoise. They were very excited for the race. The fox was selected to judge the race. As decided earlier, the route was set by the tortoise. They started off. The hare, in keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers away on the other side of the river. The hare sat near the river wondering what to do. In the meantime, the tortoise reached up the river, trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story is first identify your core competency, and then change the playing field which suits best your core competence.
Hare and the Tortoise, the rematch. Years had passed since the famous race between the hare and the tortoise. The story of their unexpected outcome had spread far and wide in the jungle, making the tortoise a symbol of persistence and the hare a lesson in humility. Yet, deep down, the hare was eager for another chance to prove himself. One day, as the hare strolled through the forest, he spotted the tortoise munching on some leaves near a pond. With a friendly grin, the hare said,
"Hey, old friend, how about we settle the score with another race?"
The tortoise, still as calm and collected as ever, chuckled.
"Why not? But this time, let's make it more interesting."
"Interesting, but how?"
"Yes, this time we'll include obstacles along the way. It won't just be about speed, but about strategy and perseverance."
The hare, confident as ever, agreed. The other animals of the forest quickly gathered, excited to see the rematch. The race course was laid out through a winding forest trail filled with many challenges. The first challenge is the muddy stretch, which is a long, slippery path of mud. The second hurdle is the river crossing, which is a shallow but wide river to cross. The third obstacle is the rocky climb, which is a steep hill covered in loose rocks. And the final sprint is a smooth, open path to the finish line. The starting point was set, and the forest buzzed with anticipation. The owl is declared as a referee of the race.
Ready? On your marks, get set, go!
As expected, the hare bolted off, leaving the tortoise far behind. The spectators cheered as he dashed through the first stretch. But when the hare reached the muddy stretch, he skidded and slid, struggling to keep his footing. Meanwhile, the tortoise arrived, taking slow, deliberate steps. His sturdy shell gave him balance, allowing him to pass through the mud with ease. By the time the hare scrambled out of the mud, the tortoise was closer than he'd expected.
No problem. This time I will win it.
The hare sped off again and reached at the river. At the river, the hare hesitated. He hated getting wet. He hopped around, looking for a way to leap across, but found none. The tortoise, however, waded into the river without hesitation. His shell kept him buoyant, and his steady paddling brought him safely to the other side. The hare, seeing no other option, abruptly splashed through, losing more time. The hare quickly regained his lead as he approached the rocky climb. He bounded up the hill with ease, but soon found himself slipping on the loose rocks. His speed became his enemy as he stumbled repeatedly. The tortoise, on the other hand, moved methodically. With each step, he carefully placed his feet, ensuring a stable climb. By the time the hare reached the top, the tortoise wasn't far behind. At last, they reached the smooth path leading to the finish line. The hare, seeing his chance, took off like a splash and thought,
This is it. No way can the tortoise catch me now.
But the tortoise had one final trick up his sleeve. During the climb, he had noticed a shortcut, a narrow path hidden behind some bushes. While the hare sprinted down the main trail, the tortoise took the shortcut, emerging just as the finish line came into view. The hare, shocked to see the tortoise ahead of him, pushed himself harder than ever. But it was too late. With one last steady step, the tortoise crossed the finish line first. The forest erupted in cheers as the tortoise smiled humbly. The hare, though disappointed, shook the tortoise's hand.
Well done, old friend. You've shown me once again that speed isn't everything.
And you've shown me the value of persistence. But remember, it's not about who wins. It's about learning and growing.
From that day on, the hare and the tortoise became partners, teaching the forest animals the importance of balancing speed with strategy and effort with patience. The moral of the story is, success comes not just from speed or talent, but from the strategy and learning from past mistakes.
Hey everyone, did you enjoy the story? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more fun and exciting tales.